So back to my question. My question was, how will the sacred union, divine feminine and divine masculine energy, handle or interact with the contraction reaction energy that will naturally unfold from part of their opening into bliss, unless they have fully integrated their subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds, so they are of one mind, and they are absolutely aware of when they are being pushed by creation to be triggered and to allow the infection, if there's any still within them, to spread in an outer reaction with another person, place, thing, animal, environment. So this was my question, and I wanted to see what this question looked like in terms of energy. And working with the Fairies Oracle deck, the first cards that came out, we have the Feline, we have the Laum, we have Rar, which is neutral, co-creative energy. We decide how it gets used. And then we have the Singer of Courage. So, looking at these cards, this is what I gathered and translated from the energies. The feline is about details. The feline is about attending to the practical realities of being a joyful part of Source and Gaia co-creation. There are things that have to happen. There are tasks that have to be attended to. There are agreements that need to be formed and kept. And that's part of being whole. And the next card, the Laum, is a card of that kind of relaxing into a cherishing, insightful relationship between divine masculine and divine feminine within ourselves, where the divine masculine is happily and humbly wearing the divine feminine energy on the top of its head and carrying her where she needs to go, where they need to go. And you can see that they've come into this relationship because her wings are tattered. She's worn. She's done a lot of flying off to take care of things and to take care of details. And she's had to do this without him for a long time. So I see in these two cards the translation of the divine masculine energy. Maybe he's a little grumpy about it, but he's also now coming into the energy of, yeah, this is something I have to help you a little bit more with. And I have to come down from my 2/3 out of balance charge to my 1/3 and 1/3, and then the other third are being guided by the divine, by Source and the divine blueprint. So this I see as where the sacred union partnerships, whether that's an intimate partnership or a sibling partnership or a parent-child partnership or a friend partnership, this is where the divine masculine and divine feminines are working together to cherish and express the union in balance. In balance. I-N, balance. And then what they have supporting them in that particular process of managing the creation and the contraction energy that they're going to feel. Last week was very blissful. There was a lot of bliss flowing through as we're moving through the Lionsgate. And so there was a lot of bliss, and at the same time there were opportunities, challenges to go into creation. And so because of Source wisdom understanding the dynamics of its own creation. We are shown the energy of the Ra, which is nuclear power, neutral nuclear power that is directed by our emotions and our consciousness. And with this came the singer of courage, because moving through the creation without creating harm to yourself or to another, to stay on your co-creation path, to stay conscious as a co-creator, is the challenge right now. Coming beyond the bliss, because every time we have bliss, the bliss ignites us, moves through us, and loosens any part of us that still needs attention and a welcoming invitation into wholeness, so that our subconscious, unconscious, and conscious minds are aligned and focused, and they are literally beaming out the energy focus that's now centered in our heart chakras. And that's where the energy of Gaia has moved up to our hearts, and it's where the energy of Source creation has moved down to our hearts. So the next question I asked was, feeling into this, looking at this feline, like he's gonna do it, but he's not happy about it. My question was, what's going on within the divine masculine that he's feeling grumpy, and he's probably being more potentially triggered by the creation than the divine feminine. So the next 4 cards that came out in answer to that, what's the challenge for the divine masculine as he's bringing into balance this feline? And here there's a kind of a slinky, sneaky energy here. And so it's like, what is that slinky energy about as it's snooping around and yet attending to a very important activity of attending to details? So the 2 cards that came out were Epona's wild daughter and himself. So here we have, very interestingly to me, we have 2 feminine energies that are sitting atop other energies. And you look at Epona's wild daughter, her wings are not tattered, and she has a tail. And she doesn't exactly have feet. She has kind of either grasshopper legs or something. But she's very, very wild. And she's carrying tremendous amounts of life energy. And so I was feeling how the divine masculine might want to be sharing this quality of energy with his divine feminine in the external. That he has this in himself, and that in himself, literally in this card, in himself, that's this card, he's either holding on to this or it's being expressed in a distorted way. He's trying to figure out how to express it in union, but it's a challenge right now. And this is his challenge. And the only thing that the divine feminine can do is hold the neutral space of her own power and give him the support that he needs, still allowing him to feel her love to work this through. Now, Epona's wild daughter is the kind of energy that does not contribute to the peaceful happiness of a sacred union couple. In either the male or the female, she is, in a way, a kind of wild, exuberant saboteur of peace. And she will use this energy, this wild energy, to sabotage the peace of the union. And that's in itself serves a purpose, because it will trigger and it will bring up more information about what still needs to be healed and welcomed into wholeness. But this can be a card of addiction, of abuse of substances. And I always like to remind people that abuse of substances includes sexual addictions. and sexual distortions. And the himself is struggling now to step himself down and come out of those choices. And he realizes that this is his time for accountability and responsibility. But he's not necessarily liking it. He's committed to it, but he's not liking it. He's very, very, very focused on himself, which is appropriate when we're working through our wholeness and healing. And he may be working on that aspect of his journey now, and it's his own work to do. Now, where he is wanting to find himself is bringing these two expressions of the divine masculine together. The oak man is very wise, very calm, very centered. Here in the himself eyes, you can see that as he becomes whole and grounded and loving and really fully awake in his heart, his eyes look like this. These are gentle, wise, loving, kind, patient, empathic, understanding eyes. And this is getting expressed in living reality, in nature. This is a really interesting dynamic that's going on here, and this is kind of an internal struggle. And so what does he have supporting this internal struggle? He has the singer of healing. So the singer of healing is moving into the dynamic of focusing either on himself or not focusing on himself in ways that are not self-loving, and he's giving himself away. And then he comes out of balance with giving and receiving. Yeah? So the singer of healing is with him to help him with this creation space that may be arising in him as we're moving toward the lion's gate, and more bliss energies are penetrating us and coming in from the higher densities and dimensions and affecting our physical bodies. So that was the answer to what is the major struggle that those in sacred union are working with right now. So if you are recognizing this divine masculines or divine feminines, please do leave a comment. I really appreciate it when we share this conversation, when you've watched it and I've translated it and you've listened, and we can have a conversation about it. So then the next question I asked was, all right, we have the singer of courage, we have the singer of healing, we have the Ra card, all of these energies are in operation, they're all in flow. What is the bridge between the creation and the next beautiful expansion into bliss? And the cards that came out were 0 point energy and unity. Both of these cards are expressing unity. This is unity, 0 point within source energy, and this is unity, 0 point energy moving out into our individualized and co-created realities. So that is spectacular, because this is what source is bringing to the divide. This is what source is bringing to the separation that still exists. So that's just gorgeous. And then next out was, well, what does it then look like? What shifts when this energy from source comes in to bridge this gap now between bliss and creation? And first we have out the singer of transformation. Then we have Penelope Dreamweaver. Then we have we have the Green Woman. Then we have Iris of the Rainbow. And then we have Ecstasis. So we can see the journey continues. And so these energies now. The 0 point, the sacred master key, has been created to deal with the gap in between, to deal with the dynamic charge between bliss expansion and the reactive contraction. And in the expressive side, in those of us who are holding the balance within ourselves, within union, the singer of transformation is here to support this dynamic process. This is an 11 card, and the singer of transformation is out under the Ra card. So we are taking that powerful, explosive, neutral, co-creative energy that we get to decide what we're going to do with it, with our conscious minds. And this is being taken into transfiguration. So it is contributing to, right along, we're going to go across here, that's contributing to Penelope Dreamweaver, so that the divine feminine energy is still moving along. You see she's had a bit of a break, she's had a bit of a restorative process here. So she is having this energy support her. The 11 is supporting her in recharge and regeneration, so that she's able to be in this energy in her subtle energy bodies, while she and her sacred union partner, whoever that may be, are working through their dynamics coming toward the Lion's Gate. Now, I love this reading. I'm knocked out by this reading. Here we have the transition of Epona's wild daughter through the energy of ecstasis, of ecstasy. More bliss, more bliss, more bliss to address the creation, to heal the creation. And so we have these three energies now expressing in both the divine masculine and the divine feminine, getting things realigned for the sacred union journey. It's a constant process of expansion, contraction, realignment, expansion, contraction, realignment. So here we have ecstasis. This is pure ecstasy of the union coming in to keep things in balance. And that energy is then translating Epona's wild daughter and the Oak Man. Right? We have this now. We have ecstasis supporting this process of healing, where Epona's wild daughter and himself have to go through this journey. They have to go through it. There's no choice to get to here. And where they're able to come to with this ecstasis, with allowing themselves to feel the great mystery and the terrifying, for some, unknown in ecstasy, because we're used to suffering on this planet. We're not used to having ecstasy and bliss available to us all 24/7. We have pain and suffering, and for maybe 21/7, and then we have 3 hours of something might be a little bit pleasurable. And maybe an hour a day we have something that looks like happiness and contentment. So here we have the transformation into this sacred union couple, the green woman, who is all about protecting and creating and dynamic, beautiful, balanced, crazy, wild, absolutely exuberant energy, and the himself. So we've gone from this out of balance to this in balance in the 3D. And this is primarily representing subconscious and unconscious energies and subtle body energies that haven't been worked through yet. So that is just amazing. I hope you're feeling me on this and looking at this and seeing where we're going.